Hey everybody, Roponiganti here. I'm making an interesting kind of video. It started as a Medium post, but I wanted to just kind of talk about it because I feel that's more organic for me. So the topic of this video is success on YouTube. You know, why don't I have more views, and how do I get views, and why isn't my channel growing? All these questions are weird and tough and important. And, you know, speaking from the niche of music video making people, I really wanted to give both my 2 cents and a lot of the advice that has been given to me, so that hopefully maybe I can encourage people to think differently about how they create content, how they create music and release music, and maybe, you know, encourage people to do it in a way that serves their goals better. So kind of want to start by saying, you know, have you ever heard someone say my channel is dying? Have you ever heard someone say, I feel like I'm not getting views, the YouTube algorithm has shifted? Or, you know, how do I do better titles? How do I get better thumbnails? And, you know, we're talking so much about how to do these shortcuts to take advantage of the system to present our art. And I feel like it's kind of unfortunate that we're not talking more about the content, more about the art, more about the person, the human behind the gear. Because it's been crazy how many times, you know, I'll be in a conversation, be it with some friends from Pixel Mixers, from Materia Collective, or even from my general YouTube friends, and, you know, we almost forget to say, you know, how did you do that? You do that. Not, you know, what gear did you buy, or what software are you using, or how did you get 10,000 views, or it's very murky, and at the end of the day, I think we need to define what success is on YouTube, and that way you'll know, you know, at least a bit of a roadmap how to get to the success that you're, you know, looking for. So to start, I'm gonna, you know, ask a simple question. What is success to you? Where do you want to be with your music, with your channel? And you don't have to know it like perfectly. You don't even have to have a very, you know, solid example, but, you know, think of what you admire from other people and what you want to do for yourself. You know, for me, I want my channel to be exciting and people to remember my music, and I want to get some great opportunities to work with people. That's why I've, you know, to my best ability, I'm not perfect, but I've tried to cater everything I do on my channel to improve my, you know, goals. For the music side, I still practice guitar, piano, my voice. I try to do everything that serves better content, you know, not just the thumbnails and not just the share on, you know, Reddit instead, or all these tools where I'm not really in control, but you're in control of your content because it's you, it's yours. So to serve my goal again, you know, practicing music, practicing production, working on videos, asking for help. One of the hardest things in this entire, you know, scheme of things is asking someone else to do work, letting go of responsibility. I know it's expensive sometimes. If you're getting started, a lot of people are just eager to, you know, work for revenue split, which, you know, maybe you have some feelings on that. But whatever it is, your goal should be serving that success that you consider success. Now, for the opportunities I want, yes, it is important to get views. It is important to stand out so that people will discover me. So to that end, I do try to put some work into sharing, making, you know, attractive thumbnails and titles, and, you know, I want the first 5 seconds someone clicks on my video to be entertaining. Who doesn't? And that's kind of the point I'm making. Like, after you've done all of that, all of these like tricks and techniques and hot YouTube tips 2018, you're still left at the end of the day with, if no one's watching it, why not? Is that what you wanted? If you want really good music, just make really good music, and the validation will come afterwards. One of the topics that comes up whenever I'm discussing, you know, YouTube and growth, and, you know, ideas for channels is, why am I getting less attention on this video that I put so much hard work into? I spent all night, I, you know, bought all this new gear, or I collaborated with someone big, and, you know, it only has 100 views maybe, or to you, maybe 1,000 views is low. For me, it's, it would be nice. Maybe, you know, you only got 5,000 views, or it's becoming arbitrary and almost silly. But yes, we always feel like we could deserve more when we put in all this hard work, you know? And that's something I think we really need to analyze, because are views really best measurement for us to be worrying about, or click-through rates or, retention. Yes, I think they all serve some sort of purpose, but, you can't change some of these things. You can't change your viewer and tell them, hey, you watch my video so I get more views. You can say, I will make a better video. I will make something entertaining, and hopefully it does better because of XYZ. And to do that, all you have to do is ask someone who makes videos that you like. Maybe you like theirs more than your own, and you want to know why. Critically analyze. We can't magically, say, oh, they don't like it because YouTube isn't showing my video, and that's it. It's not worth giving up. So I think it's really important to analyze, why we're not getting enough views, and if that is an important factor. Maybe to you, the most important person watching is someone that you look up to in the community. Maybe you're trying to impress musicians. I definitely like to impress musicians because that way I might get more opportunities to work with them. Working hard, is 8 hours enough? Is 20 hours enough? It's really hard to say. And one of my friends, Terracy Music, and I just realized I wasn't going to use examples, but we were talking about how long we spend on videos. And I realized that just because of the nature of how I work and the genre I do, the amount of instruments I have to record, I was averaging maybe 8 to 10 hours of recording, tracking, arranging work, stuff in the music before I do the video editing, which might add a couple more. Whereas, she would spend more. And there were people who were spending even more than that. And there are people spending even less time than me. So, who is it to say what is enough time spent or how hard you have to work? Maybe, the content will speak for itself. And that's one of the hardest parts. In 2008, if any of you guys were using YouTube, think back to what the best YouTube guitar video was. In terms of views, it was a person whose face you could not see, wearing a hat, just playing canon rock. They were just sitting on a bed and they were just playing guitar. You could barely see the guitar. It was so poor quality, but the audio and the performance, his technical performance just wowed people. And it was new. Now, instead of webcams, we're using DSLRs and camcorders, and we're using like Axe-FXs or, thermionic whatever amplifiers and bias, and everything's become just that more modernized, and the bar is getting raised on YouTube. And it can feel daunting, It's kind of like your caveman who just stayed chill and then came out in the year 2000, and you don't know what's happening. And that's where I think it's important for us to learn to adapt and grow with everyone and ask questions, and, don't get too content with content. That was fun. Because I feel like there's so much more to grow. And if the moment you stop growing your content, then your introverted goal or your internal goal of making good music is going to stop because, you're not doing anything to improve upon it. So that's kind of going to bleed into where I think daily videos and frequency and the things that people have been talking about with YouTube and my schedule, and I gotta stick to the schedule at the same time. Oh no, I'm sorry I didn't upload on the right time. All of these problems stem from this complacency, this I have to do the same thing every week and that's how I grow. I want to dispel that badly. There was a recent discussion which really, really sparked my interest in talking about this, where let's call him a YouTube professional, just someone who is in the world of marketing, was discussing the idea with quite a lot of YouTube friends that maybe you should make content every day, because the overwhelming amount of content you create could generate some sort of growth. You're always there, you're in the present, public eye, and if you keep making content, then it'll just magically, you'll get views, you'll get subscribers, you'll get growth. And he had this optimism, this Mr. Rogersian optimism that, yes, this is the right thing to do. I think it'll be great for you, man. You got to try this out. But I don't think this person was a musician, of course. And one of the strongest arguments that, I didn't really present but suggest a little was that if you're making a video every day, if you even have the time for this sort of thing, won't the quality suffer? Are you improving yourself musically if you're just doing the same thing as fast as you can and, not taking time for risk-taking? And I'm assuming a lot of things here, but we decided, screw it, let's try it. So I didn't do this, but two friends, Subversive Asset and Dachin Grata, they both gave it a shot doing what I would consider to be a fairly, similar to their usual content kind of videos, and they worked really hard on trying to make them faster. We always have to cut corners when we work on videos fast. And, ultimately, and I've asked both of them this, hopefully I'm right in saying this, it did not make a visible growth on the channel doing dailies. And to, bring up something that people kind of don't remember maybe, I've been doing weeklies for like 6 years with a couple breaks tops. I don't think it's ever benefited me so much that it was a visible difference than when I took breaks or when I tried, a larger project. Usually when I release an album, I get more press after like waiting months and months of working than if I just kept on making the same kind of video over and over. So the takeaway I found there is, yes, you gain skills in speed. You know where to prioritize your time management and how to take risks, but at the same time, is that your goal? And I don't think that is my goal personally. So I don't see myself doing the daily idea just for the views or the growth, because I don't think it'll benefit in my goal of making good music. Now, before you guys start wondering, like, who am I to be talking about all this? Do I have any experience or validation? I want to give a small example of where I was successful in the numerical sense and what I kind of took away from it, because I think this is probably one of the most like pinnacle moments that could create this argument. And this is the story of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. A brand new game was announced by Nintendo, and normally people would be going crazy for it and, getting excited for the game and all the fan work. But instead, all the musicians who so chose to do this wanted to make a cover of the theme song. Because whenever these trends happen, be it movies, games, or news events, or whatever, people start searching for it more, which means your video, your channel, and, the opportunity, they just like grow until, it feels like if you just uploaded the words Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on YouTube, you're just going to be like drowning in subscribers and viewage and growth. But I truly don't think that is the case because it's so easy to make music now. There's so many people that you really, really, really need to find yourself and do what you do that no one else can do as best as possible. And this is where I think Super Smash Bros., if I could pat myself on the back, did a little better than I thought it would. So, the game is announced on that day, and I had experience from jazz band. I spent a lot of time reading jazz chord sheets, so I got used to playing by ear. So I transcribed the entire theme on like a little sticky note, just, this chord, let's come up with some ideas here. And I just did this during like my lunch break or something. And I went home, and because I had already used, I had the skill to transcribe all these things a little quicker, which comes from practice, of course. So I already had that part done. And I'd been playing guitars 11 years at the time. I knew my major and minor scales, and I recorded the parts really quickly. And I used a couple mixing templates, I listened on a couple mediums, and I've been watching tutorials for like 5 years on different ways to mix. So all the production things were done. So all that was left was literally just film a video, make sure it's framed well, and you can always refer to channels you like to get ideas. I mean, that's how everyone learns from each other. And I posted the video first. Or I should clarify, I was the first person to make a visible music performance video. And it benefited because I was, the first thing maybe people saw, they clicked it. And, hopefully the case is that, my music was good enough to where people didn't hate it. They watched the whole thing. It counted as a view. They liked it, subscribed, whatever. So that was a visible notice, like jump for my channel. And what I want to take away from that is why. Because I think most people are going to say, it's because you hit the trend row. It's because you did it at the right time. The end. And think about that for a second. It's like, if someone's really talented, you say it's because you were born with it. It's completely robbing the person of their merit, of their hard work, and discrediting, anything they could have done to the content. The art for art's sake is completely destroyed. when you say that it's just because of the trend. And that's why I think everyone could have done what I did, or what, you know, a lot of people have done with Persona, with Breath of the Wild, with all these AAA video games that have blown up channels. But it's also not everyone off the bat. You have to work for it. And I do think that if there's some indescribable measurement or threshold of quality, then you have to hit that competitively and hit the 2018 bar of quality to benefit from some of these things. That's not to say you shouldn't do it. I really want everyone to be able to pursue every single goal they have, but consider what you have the control of. You know, I can't control the other viewers. I can't control the trends. I can jump on the bandwagons. I can try to take advantage of it, use clean thumbnails. I can, you know, do all those tricks. But at the end of the day, my music video still has to be something I'm proud of, and it still has to be something that hopefully other people find objectively good. And that's what I really, really want this whole shebang that I wasted like 20 minutes on to be about. You have to make something good, and you can't always determine what good is. So you just have to keep improving yourself, or else, you know, these trends are worthless. These techniques and these algorithms, they'll get you far, but I don't know if they'll get you far long term. And I'm, you know, worried that so many people are caught up in that game that they're pushing aside the content, the music, to like whatever is just okay, whatever's content, whatever, you know, whatever worked one time, it has to work again. And I don't know if it always does. I've never been the person who, you know, covers something or does a video, oh wow, that did really well, let me do it, you know, another 10, 20 times the exact same way, because I'm scared and I'm stubborn. And, you know, that's probably part of it too. But, you know, I think improvement for the long term requires that we don't get too content with whatever we did last week. So I want to kind of conclude this with like the last anecdote and, you know, a bunch of advice that hopefully maybe applies. I know not all of it can apply, and maybe some of it's wrong too. I was speaking to my Screenwave, my YouTube network manager, and basically the first thing we did was I kind of explained I've been making videos for 6.5, 7 years. I've always been trying to improve how the videos look, the framing, the audio production, my performance, try to touch on, you know, different fan bases, audiences, but still stick to some sort of progressive rock and metal sound. You know, I like went down the checklist as best as I could of what I'm doing, maybe what I'm not doing, and I asked him, what am I doing that could be improved? You know, is my content not at some sort of threshold? You know, I didn't want to ask for all these like hot YouTuber tricks because I can look that up. Everyone knows them. You know, use the little 2 bars in your title, you know, organize it, put tags. But the first thing he did say was that he thinks that the content is good enough on its own. And, you know, there are factors out of my control, like, you know, it's just a matter of time, wait it out, keep making videos. And at first I was just like, well, shoot, you know, you're supposed to tell me how to fix everything. But at the same time, you know, it's just one person's opinion, and, you know, having a critical analysis from a larger channel, because, you know, look, fortunately this manager also runs a channel, it's so incredibly important because, you know, they've experienced what I'm trying to get out of it. You know, growing a fan base so that opportunities will grow, and making content that they can be proud of. You know, I want to be able to play my music live, so I should probably make the music fun to play. You know, all these, it goes back to the goals. It goes back to what I consider success. So, you know, in that discussion, we kind of just got around to, here are a few things that you could try doing differently. You know, take advantage of this, but at the core, you know, keep your content, and I'm sorry, touching my hair a lot, it just doesn't look great. You know, just focus on making the good content you already are and improving that. And that's something I want to really take pride in and critique at the same time. You know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I had the same camera you're looking at now, and I didn't know how to control anything, and clearly I don't know how to control exposure. And then at the same time, you know, 3 years later, I've been asking friends to film me. We've been using, you know, whatever those gimbal things are. We've been going outdoors and stuff. We've been collaborating. I've been looking into, you know, different music styles. We've got country, jazz, blues. I've been doing, you know, all sorts of different kinds of games or movies, original music, and it's showing, but it's not showing, if that makes sense, you know, because you just have to look for the success that you want. And the success that I want, that makes me happy at least, is that I'm proud of my music. And I think I still have ways to go, you know, because it's a never-ending quest. But basically what I want to take away is kind of a quote that Insane in the Rain had mentioned when we were talking last. And, you know, for all the thumbnails, all the critical analysis of trends, for all the things that have worked, haven't worked, you know, he started at 0 subscribers. You started at 0 subscribers. I started at 0 subscribers. There's a very loud truck behind me. And we all started at the same spot. We can only control our content. And at the end of the day, as he put it, you know, are we going to be looking at our numbers? Are we going to be reflecting on how many subscribers we have or how well a certain video did? No, we're going to be reflecting on how fun it was to make that song or how good that song was and the effect that whatever we did, our content, our business, the effect it had on other people. And, you know, I'm only 24, but, you know, I think in 50 years or 60 years, I'll probably agree. I'm not going to worry about how many numbers I had or, you know, things as arbitrary as that. I'm going to be glad that I made music. I'm going to be glad that I worked with people and formed charities and businesses. And I think you guys should be too. And hopefully, if you're, you know, wondering how do I grow on YouTube, think about your goal. Think about why you want to grow. Think about some of the advice that the different people have shared with me, and think about how it applies to you, and maybe you'll find a way to get to your goal and not worry about all this other silly YouTube nonsense that, you know, is just way less fun to work on.